Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to my review for Resident Evil 4 on the PC. I decided to check this game out because I enjoyed Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 7, and Village as well. I never played the original Resident Evil 4, so I'm not looking at this through rose-tinted glasses. So I was eager to find out, does this game live up to the hype? Let's find out. Alright, first up is the gameplay, and oh my god, they nailed it. This game is so much fun. There's just like high adrenaline action and scenarios throughout. Every interaction, it seems like, is a puzzle in itself that you're trying to solve. And the game is just genuinely terrifying. I'm not really somebody that gets scared easily, and this game scared the shit out of me a lot. The weapon variety is excellent. You've got pistols, magnums, shotguns, submachine guns, AR, snipers, rocket launchers, and knives as well. You got a bunch of different types of knives. It's kind of crazy. The aiming and everything is precise, but the movement feels a little bit sluggish. I think that's purposeful, though, to kind of add to the scariness of the game. The camera is literally like right behind your shoulder, and it gives this super claustrophobic feeling to the game. It's really just a fantastic vibe, and the number one thing I look for with gameplay is it fun, and for damn sure this game is fun. There's high replayability as well. Each mission is kind of rated on like Devil May Cry, where it gives you a grade after the mission is done. It tells you all of your accomplishments, so that's super cool. Gives you good incentive to go back and replay the game as soon as you're done with it. Some things that I didn't really like too much with combat was that sluggish movement. Sometimes it caused me to get stuck on a rock or something like that, and I would take a hit. And that was a little frustrating, but that was few and far between. The parry and the melee keybinds, if I'm being honest, I still don't know which one to do until the button prompt comes up, and that leads to taking frustrating damage. That was like really one of my only gripes with, like legit gripes with this game consistently. There's companion quest woes. Like if you don't know the story, if you're like me going into this kind of blind, you're having to save the president's daughter, and she's with you on a lot of these missions. 99% of the time, she's great. Like, you don't even really realize that she's there. She's not a hindrance at all, but occasionally she'll run in front of your bullets, which causes her to instantly die, and you have to restart at the last checkpoint. The puzzles in the game, for the most part, are fantastic, and I love them. There are a couple, though, that just kind of feel like you're guessing, but they didn't last too long to get you too frustrated or take you out of the experience very much. The last thing is that the combat can slightly get repetitive near the end. Like, don't get me wrong, I was still enjoying it, but they kind of, after 14 hours it took me to beat this game, you know, there's only so much you can do with this style of combat and linear level experience. And they kind of reached the maximum point of it. And they do a fantastic job keeping it fresh, but I did feel a little bit of a slight repetitiveness near the end. Overall, though, man, they absolutely nailed the gameplay. Moving on to the visuals now. The art style, quite frankly, is just perfect. It's dark, it's disgusting, it's gritty. Like, I audibly said out loud a few times, I said, ew, what the fuck? Like, and that was many times throughout the game, and that was in a very good way. Like, holy shit, this is terrifying. The characters and the environments all look sharp, they look realistic, you know, you've got your reflections look great. There's a grayness to the characters that add to their mystery in a way. Like, these characters are presented to you and you're not sure of their intentions, and it's like the visual style of these characters adds to that. And part of the terror from the game comes from questioning each character's motive, and they just, it's perfect the way that these characters look. There are so many different enemies, and they look fantastic. They look scary. They're all unique as well. I was very surprised at the enemy variety and just the detail on all of them. The chainsaw enemies in particular are just horrifying. Like, you want to talk about scary, that enemy is top of the line. Just overall, the visual style, it's damn near perfect. The sound in this game is some of the best I've heard, period. Just in any game, ever.
Salutations! Mr. Kennedy.
Are you ready to hand over the girl?
Not this guy again.
I'm taking the liberty of preparing some entertainment for you. Without further ado, the gallant knight protects the princess fair.
It's a massive reason why this game is just so scary. One of the design choices that I thought was brilliant was having the zombies speak a different language. They're all speaking Spanish, and so you can like hear them talking and saying these things. But if you're like me and have limited knowledge of Spanish, it just adds to that creepiness. Like, what are they talking about? Their grunts, their screams, and the crashes, like in the environments, they all give clues to help you plan your combat interactions. Like, if you know where some enemies are just based on the sounds, you can kind of plan out how you want to navigate through the combat scenario. The guns sound perfect. They make the combat feel just awesome. There's a real weight behind the impact of your bullets or your melee attacks. The voice acting is good. One character, Ada, she sounds a little bit off. It's like her voice doesn't fit her character design, but it's not terrible. There's cheesy dialogue in the game, but it adds to the charm. And then there's serious in the cutscenes, which I think is a good thing. Resident Evil has a certain feel to the dialogue interactions, and this game is right on par with what you would expect. The background music is just perfect. It fits the mood of the game perfectly. And overall, just the sound is some of the most impressive I've heard in any game, period. Moving on now to story. The story is simple, it's mysterious, and it's actually really good. You're constantly wondering what these characters' motivations are. Like, are they good guys, bad guys that you're coming across? Some of them are obvious, like the Lord Sadler's, you know, the main bad guy, and Ramon Salazar, who's one of my favorite characters. You know they're bad, but there are a lot of characters that there's like this gray area. You're not sure. The environment itself tells a story. For example, you come across this huge axe early on in the game, and your character, you investigate it, says, "Man, I'd like to see the person that can handle that thing," or something along those lines. And guess what? You come across that person that can handle it later on. There are also like these giant blue. They're not really zombies. They're infected with the plague, but I think these guys were created in a lab, and because they're in vats, and they burst out of these vats, and it just, you feel a certain sense of sympathy for them. So the environment tells stories in those kind of ways. You also have notes that you can find, and different items that you come across that have descriptions that you can read, and like pictures and recordings, and that all adds to you piecing the story together yourself, which is super fun.
Okay?
Now, knowing the backstory for Resident Evil would help add to this enjoyment, because some of these characters like Krauser, Ada, they are introduced and you're not really sure. Like me, I came into this fresh, you're just really not sure who they are. And there's also somebody else called, I don't know his name, Michael, I think, who's the helicopter dude, and I never really knew who he was, but Leon was acting like they were best friends, so that was cool. But overall, the story gave great motivation for you to be just doing everything that you're doing, and that's what I look for in a game. It gives you that hook to keep on playing, and it's part of the reason why I played 14 hours in like 4 days. I wanted to find out what happens next. My PC brethren, you can breathe a sigh of relief because the PC port is very, very good. You get high FPS because the game is very well optimized, as long as you have the equipment, of course. There's no slowdown. The game looks and sounds great. There's like no stuttering at all. You have nice in-game options that you can tweak. You just shouldn't have any worries, and this is most likely the absolute best way to play Resident Evil 4 Remake. Overall, the game accomplishes exactly what it sets out to do. It's extremely fun to play. It scares the shit out of you. It tells a really good story. I'm not looking at this through a nostalgic lens. Like, I recognize that the game does have some problems, like the companion quest, occasionally being frustrating. The gameplay does get slightly repetitive towards the end, and some of the voice-acted lines just feel out of place. But those negatives, they just completely pale in comparison to all the positives. This is a rare game that I would recommend to literally anybody. The only exception would be if you're just super bothered by horror or, you know, being scared. You just don't enjoy that at all, like in the slightest bit. But if you don't have those reservations, you need to play this game. I give Resident Evil 4 Remake on PC a 9.5 out of 10. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you could, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. Being a new content creator, it really helps out a whole lot when you do that. If there's a game that you would like for me to cover next, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you agree or disagree with my scoring of this game. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.